call line on the independent MHA for, is it Mount Pearl South? I'm afraid to say it because I always get it wrong, but we're talking to Paul Lane. Paul, help me out. What's the name of your district again?
Mount Pearl Southlands.
So talk about, that's the horseshoe just outside not enough for a
close.
point.
You're pretty close. It used to be Mount Pearl South.
Yeah.
And when they changed the boundaries prior to the last provincial election, they actually expanded my district, and my district now takes in
Southlands. That's right.
Southbrook and so on.
Yep.
So they changed it from Mount Pearl South to Mount Pearl Southlands.
Gotcha.
I would also say that the last thing I haven't not home yet myself, so I haven't gotten to watch the game. But the last thing I saw on social media, in the first it was 2-1 for Leafs. I don't know if it's still the score or if it's changed, but they were in the lead at some point at 2-1. Anyway.
Yep.
So anyway, that's good.
Okay, what's on your mind?
Darrell, I wanted to, I guess, provide some commentary, on the budget. First of all, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to support the budget again this year, and there's a number of reasons, but I guess the biggest reason being that really nothing has changed from last year. So if I couldn't support last year's budget, then it would be very difficult to support this year's budget, because all of the changes that were made last year in terms of all the new taxes and fees, I think there was like 300 taxes and fees, including that ill-thought-out levy, and that has not changed at all. Certainly, I'm glad to see that there will be some adjustment on the gas tax, although that's not going to happen till June, but that will certainly be a welcome relief, albeit the price of gas has gone through the roof in any case, and it just went up a couple of times now in the last week.
Yeah, it's been tough, 140.
That will be a welcome relief. There's no doubt. But beyond that, nothing else has changed. So I guess if I couldn't support it last year, then I can't see how I could possibly support it this year. I will say that there was, a few positive notes in the budget, a few little tidbits here that I did think, were good things in terms of some additional funding for transition houses. There was some additional money for some student assistance in the classroom for inclusive education, which is something which is very much needed, although I did listen to commentary from NLTA President Jim Dinn, who has indicated that while he welcomes it, that he's saying that it will go nowhere close to making up for all the destruction that was done to education in last year's budget. But nonetheless, it's something. So I suppose that's better than nothing. And there was some money there for early childhood education and for some low-income families to help out with childcare. There was some additional monies there. There's a new pilot project, I believe, within the Department of Justice for victims of sexual assault, for them to be able to obtain some free legal advice. So, there were a few little things here and there that, I would say are positive things and things I would support. But overall, in terms of the overall budget, all the taxes and fees are practically, the same, with the exception of the gas tax. And, things like if you were a senior last year and you were impacted by the elimination of the dental program, the elimination of coverage for over-the-counter medications, diabetes test strips, if you had your home care hours reduced and your home care costs increased, nothing has changed from this year to last year. So, when the minister got up and read the budget and she talked about how pleased she was that there was going to be no increases in taxes and fees, and then all the government members, started cheering and applauding and clapping their hands. I don't know what it was they were cheering and applauding for, because quite frankly, there was nothing left to tax as far as I'm concerned. So, it was very disappointing to say the least.
So what you're saying is that you're not going to vote for the budget, not necessarily for what's in it, but what's not in it.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the thing is that the bottom line is all of the damage and pain that was created in budget 2016 still remains today. And, I said from day one, even when last year's budget was, announced, and even when I was part of the Liberal caucus at the time, and, I kept bringing these issues to the table over and over again before I finally end up having to make the decision I did. I realize, and all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians realize, that, that we're in a tough spot financially. We all know that, and I think everyone was prepared to dig into their pockets and to try to do their part to help solve the problem. But it was a matter of degrees. It was a matter of going too much too fast, and that's what happened. And as a result of this budget, there's really nothing changed from that. Darrell, the other thing is I want to comment on is, one of the things that this government talked about, that they were going to differentiate themselves from the previous administration in terms of being more open and accountable and transparent and so on. But, I watched in the House of Assembly the last couple of days there, after the budget came down, and during question period, there were several questions brought forward by the official opposition, by the NDP around the budget, and we couldn't get one straight answer. All you could get was, you can get these questions answered when you go into the estimates process of budget, or there was other answers given like, look it up in the book yourself and this kind of stuff. Now, I mean, these questions that are being asked, they're being asked for the benefit of the general public to hear the questions and to hear the answers, and for the media who are following question period to be able to report on these details.
Yep.
So to simply defer it and say, you can get these answers yourself if you read the budget documents, or you can go through the estimates process to find out the answers. That's really not good enough. I mean, opposition has the right to ask questions, and they have the right to expect answers so that the public knows the answers. And one of the things that was really missed from this budget that I noticed compared to last year is that last year there was supplemental information provided where government actually gave a breakdown of specific items. Like they said, like Program X existed in the Department of Health last year, and Program X has now been changed to Program Y. And as a result, this is what's changed. This is how it will impact people, and this is how much money it will save.
And so this year you have to do your own digging.
Specifics. They're not providing any of this. So the thing is, we're not going to know what's in the budget. You talk about the devil is in the details, and people aren't going to know what's in the budget until they start applying for programs and services that they would have received, say, last year.
Well, the sleuthing is going to have to continue
because the criteria has changed.
Yeah, I got to let you go. I got one more caller just came in. Paul, listen, you have a happy Easter.
You too, Darrell. Always a pleasure talking. And by the way, thanks very much for participating in our celebrity karaoke there on Sunday. It was a lot of fun.
It was a great bit of fun. I'll do it again.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All the very best.
Yep, you too. Bye-bye.